According to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, there are approximately 90,000 missing persons in the United States at any given time. With the advancement of modern detective work and advanced scientific methods, such as genealogy testing, the vast majority of missing person cases end up being solved today. Even so, sometimes investigators just aren't able to provide enough conclusive evidence to put the pieces together on some of these cases, and they go unsolved. There have been some devastating, very suspicious missing persons cases in recent times that definitely fall into this category. Throughout history, though, all around the world, certain missing person cases have left investigators and families struggling to find answers. When there is little evidence to no evidence and no eyewitnesses, missing persons cases tragically end up being closed and unsolved. Come with us as we walk through some of the most puzzling and tragic missing persons cases throughout history all around the globe. Everyone occasionally does something they wouldn't want to be caught doing. We all just hope we can have a private moment once in a while, and what we don't tell people isn't supposed to hurt them. In this true crime story, one man had to out himself as a peeping Tom in order to come forward to police and give evidence about what he saw. The real-life horror show played out on August 26, 1995, on a remote beach in Spotsville, Kentucky. When a man on one side of the Ohio River was using his telescope to watch the beach, on the other side of the river, probably because a woman, Heather Teague, was using the beach to sunbathe. The vibe of the man's voyeurism shifted suddenly a little after noon when he noted a shirtless man emerging from the woods behind the beach. This man's face was obscured by the mosquito netting and wig that he wore. The peeping Tom watched in horror as the man emerged from the woods and pulled the sunbathing woman back into the woods by her hair. He also had a gun. The peeping Tom waited 45 minutes before calling police, likely because of the strange circumstances surrounding how the peeping Tom happened to witness the crime through his telescope. However, after calling police, he was active in the investigation, meeting police officers at the beach and giving a full statement and working with a sketch artist. Heather Teague was never seen or heard from again. When police searched the beach and woods, the only evidence they found were pieces of Heather's red plaid bathing suit. A local farmer happened to be taking video footage of a crop damage the day Heather's disappearance had happened, and happened to catch the parking lot in the beach and surrounded area. In the video, Heather's car is seen. Next to her car is a red Ford Bronco. Police think that there may have been two abductors and one was ransacking Heather's car while the other man raped her in the bed of the Bronco. The police did have a few suspects that they talked to, and a couple of them answered. The first suspect was Ray Marty Dill. He was a local man who drove a red Ford Bronco. During a routine traffic stop, a treasure trove of damning evidence was found in his vehicle. Searches aren't performed during routine traffic stops, and it's unclear if this search was performed because he was a suspect in Heather's disappearance, or if it was truly an unrelated routine stop. Police found a few hairs resembling Heather's, 2 guns, 2 knives, rubber gloves, duct tape, and rope. His tailgate was also stained with blood. The man with the telescope worked with a sketch artist and created a sketch that looked like Marty Dill. When he was shown a photo of Marty Dill, the man identified him as the person he saw dragging Heather into the woods. When police went to his home to question him, Dill shot himself in the head, ending his life. Subsequently, a grand jury investigation was held. Marty Dill's wife was questioned, but she declined to answer any questions, exercising her Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate herself. Heather Teague's family believed there was a police cover-up or negligent police activity in her case. In 2013, Heather's mother sued the Kentucky State Police for negligence. In 2018, she was awarded $24,000 after a judge found the police illegally failed to release evidence when it was requested by Heather's family, specifically 911 calls the day Heather was abducted. The $24,000 was a $25 per day penalty for violating Kentucky's Open Records Act, along with the family's legal fees. Heather's mother and her lawyer were able to listen to the 911 calls twice before suing the police department for copies of these tapes. Her lawyer explains the need for the lawsuit by describing the tapes they heard. In the 911 recording, police played for him, the family's lawyer, and Sarah Teague in 2008, the caller described the abductor as having mosquito netting or a wig over his head. He said the call played to them in 2016 did not include those descriptions, and that the dispatcher heard on the recording was a male and not female dispatcher, and not the female dispatcher heard on the call played in 2008. Police have said there is no record or reproduction of a 911 call played for them. Heather's mother and lawyer in 2008. Heather's family does not believe Marty Dill is a good suspect in Heather's disappearance. Chris Below is also a person of interest in Heather's case. Below is a 39-year-old man native to Kentucky County, where Heather was abducted. He was convicted of manslaughter for the disappearance and suspect murder of a woman he was having an affair with at the time of her disappearance, Catherine Fetzer. He said he shot her through her body and was never found. He is suspected of murdering other women as well, Mary Kushto, Shailene Farrell, and Christina Porco. Chris and Heather may have been casually acquainted with each other. Heather Teague and Catherine Fetzer were similar in appearance. Both were petite women with long brown hair. They were both around 5 feet and 100 pounds. Below friends said that he had bragged about knowing how to get rid of bodies. The beach where Heather disappeared is now closed to the public. She would have been 49 years old today. Heather's family runs the Where is Heather Daniel Teague Facebook page, where you can get updates on her case or send any information that you have. But thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video. In 1980, Lorraine Ann Ran was a 14-year-old girl living with her mother in a third-floor apartment at 239 Merrimack Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. She was described by people close to her as happy and outgoing. She also made as at Parkside Junior High. However, Lorraine's aunt had concerns about a new group of friends she had met that she had introduced her to alcohol and cannabis. On April 26, 1980, Lorraine's mother went out of town to watch her boyfriend, a professional tennis player, play in a tennis tournament. Lorraine asked to stay home as she was on spring break from school. Lorraine's mother agreed, but had a few family members stop by their apartment throughout the day to check on her. That night at the Rans' apartment, Lorraine had a male and female friend over, and the trio drank a 6-pack of beer and a bottle of wine. Lorraine's female friend was her age, and the male friend was 21 years old. The female friend says she became inebriated and doesn't remember much of the night. At 12:30 a.m., Lorraine and her male guest heard voices coming from the hallway and assumed Lorraine's mother and her boyfriend were arriving home. The male friend then exited through the apartment's back door and heard Lorraine lock the door behind him. At 1:15 a.m., Lorraine's mother and her boyfriend returned to the apartment. They noticed that all 3 floors of the apartment building were dark because of all the light bulbs in the hallways had been unscrewed. They also found the front door unlocked and the back door was open. At first, Lorraine appeared to be asleep in bed, but her mother realized it was Lorraine's female friend, not Lorraine. The friends said that they had both gone to sleep in the bed, but Lorraine had gotten up and taken a pillow and blanket to the couch to sleep there. There was no one on the couch. Lorraine wasn't in the apartment at all. Her purse, money, and brand new shoes were near the front door. Nothing was missing, and there were no signs of a struggle other than the darkened hallways and open doors. When Lorraine's mother reported her missing, police assumed that she was just a runaway. There are some theories in this case, so I'm going to go over those now. Police now believe foul play is involved and Lorraine is not a runaway. Tony Fowler, who worked on the case as a Manchester detective lieutenant, has said his belief is that Lorraine left the apartment to quickly meet someone, which is why she didn't put on shoes, lock the door, or take her purse, and that person instead abducted her. 6 weeks after Lorraine disappeared, another woman named Denise Denault disappeared 2 blocks away. Police believe that the suspected serial killer, Terry Peter Rasmussen, may be involved in this case as he lived 2 doors down from Denault and 2 blocks from Ran. Rasmussen died in 2010. The male friend who was with Lorraine that night she disappeared was never considered a suspect. He died by suicide in 1985. On October the 1st, 1980, Lorraine's mother realized she'd been charged for 3 phone calls made from motels in Southern California, one to a teen sexual assault hotline. A physician who was operating the hotline said that he may have talked to Ran or even invited her into his home, as his wife often did with runaways. This was never confirmed. A child pornography ring was also connected to one of these hotels where a call originated from. Lorraine's mother believes that these calls were made by Lorraine. Her mother also received creepy phone calls on her personal line in the middle of the night from a silent caller. Several of Lorraine's friends and family claim to have seen her by chance in public or received mystery phone calls from someone who might be Lorraine. This is pretty common for missing persons cases, however, and is usually not connected to the case. Unfortunately, unless someone comes forward, it seems unlikely that we will ever know what happened to Lorraine Ran.